The title race may just be back on. Messi saves Barca again. An undefeated record is lost in Liga. Harry Kane is set for an early comeback. And of course, we look back on your Friday feels. That and more coming up in the next few minutes as I am your host, Matt Froelich. You are the One Footballers, and this is the Daily News. First up, and Manchester City are well and truly back in the title race after making light work of Arsenal. Now, despite scoring against Manchester City for the first time since November 2017, Arsenal could not deal with the amount of injury worries that they have, especially in defence, and eventually succumbed to Sergio Aguero and the Sky Blues. This was actually Aguero's 10th hat-trick in the Premier League, and it still baffles me how he's never actually won the PFA Player of the Year. If Manchester City managed to overtake Liverpool and win the Premier League title, there really should be no doubt who wins it for me. Aguero has been unbelievable for City in the last few years, and even this season he is climbing up the goal scoring charts. As for Arsenal, well, I know they've got a whole load of injury worries, but they weren't actually that good. In fact, their shining light was 19-year-old Matteo Guendouzi. Now, I must say he looks like a really good player. Arsenal have an absolute gem on their hands, and he looks right at home at this kind of level. As for the future, well, they'll be hoping that he could be a mainstay. However, for Denis Suarez, he didn't have the best of debuts. However, he did play just 25 minutes. Within the course of the next few days, the title race could change dramatically though, yet again, as Liverpool play West Ham tonight and Manchester City travel to Everton on Wednesday. This means that by next weekend, things could be completely different. But for the moment, Liverpool are still ahead, but just by 2 points. Up next though, and to La Liga, where Lionel Messi scored twice and then got injured to rescue Barcelona against Valencia. The draw means that Barcelona did drop points and left a space for Atletico Madrid to close the gap, which they didn't take. It was Alvaro Morata's debut for the club, and they lost their first game in 19 matches as they lost to Real Betis 1-0. As for Real Madrid, well, they moved to within 2 points of rivals Atletico with a victory over Alaves, where Vinicius Jr. scored his first ever La Liga goal. I don't know about you guys, but from what I've seen, Jr. can go on to be one hell of a player, and this is just the first in what hopefully will be many goals for Real Madrid. As for the other goal scorers, well, Mariano managed to find the back of the net in the last minute, and Karim Benzema got his 6th goal in the last few games. This means that Wednesday night in the first leg of the Copa del Rey semi-final, we have a Clásico to look forward to, but it may be without Lionel Messi. As for his injury problem, apparently Ernesto Valverde said it's not too bad, but he may not be fit in time. My prediction is that he'll be sitting on the bench and may come on to probably save them yet again. But moving across to France now, where PSG lost their unbeaten record, but they're still miles ahead at the top of the table. Now, I know it's pretty exciting when a big team falls, especially in an exciting 2-1 loss to Lyon. However, they're still 10 points clear of Lille and the chasing pack, and they have 2 games in hand, so should they win those, they'll go back to being 16 points clear. Even without Neymar, PSG pretty much have the title summed up, but things are a little bit different in the Champions League. They'll be facing Manchester United, who under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are on a 10-match unbeaten run at the moment. And next up to a piece of news that all Spurs fans have been dying to hear, and that is that Harry Kane is on the comeback trail ahead of schedule. Speaking last night where he was a guest at the Super Bowl, he said that his ankle was feeling fine, that he's going back to Tottenham ahead of schedule after some warm weather training, and that he'll even be kicking the balls in the next few weeks. Without Kane, Spurs have won 3 of their last 5 games, but that does include 2 defeats and going out of both the League Cup and the FA Cup. As for the moment, they're holding on to 3rd place quite nicely in the Premier League, but they'll be hoping that Kane can be back before the end of the month, where they face back-to-back games against Chelsea and Arsenal in the Premier League, with the second leg against Dortmund in the Champions League sandwiched in between. And lastly but not least, we come to a roundup of your Friday feels. And this week, my Friday feels, because I'm feeling pretty happy that I got all 3 of them right. I predicted on Friday that Bayern Munich and Dortmund would both drop points, Munich losing 3-1 to Leverkusen and Dortmund getting a point apiece with Frankfurt, and that Manchester City would beat Arsenal 3-1. If only I'd have put some money on it. But as for you guys, we had Compy, who guessed the Manchester City Arsenal score right. We had Bob Steve, who guessed that Higuain would grab his first goal for Chelsea. And a massive shout out goes to Matthew Burns, who managed to guess that PSG would lose 2-1 to Lyon. Now, not only is this a pretty good guess because he got the correct score, but also betting against the runaway and as of before this weekend, undefeated league leaders, well, that's a pretty good prediction indeed. As normal, I'm sorry I couldn't get to all of you that got them right, but there were a lot of comments and it would be a pretty long show if I did. As always, we'll be back every single Friday with the Friday Feels, where you can leave your prediction in the comment section. But for this week's daily, let me know down below whether you think Harry Kane really can return early, is the title race back on, and what will happen in Wednesday's El Clasico in the Copa del Rey semi-final first leg. Whilst you're there, you can also smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos that we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.